Rosenborg against Sandefjord, Norwegian Eliteserien match this Sunday, 4 p.m. kickoff time in the UK. And I think Rosenborg are going to win the game, but I don't think it's going to be a massive win. They've not looked that great so far, in my opinion. Certainly offensively, anyway. They were lucky to beat Viking 1-0 on the opening day. Actually played quite well against Molde last week, deserved the draw. But the impressive part of Rosenborg last week was probably how they restricted Molde to chances. I think Molde's XG was only just over 1 goal last week, which is really good against the defending champions. I don't think Rosenborg are offering an awful lot offensively themselves, though. That said, this is probably, well, it is the easiest defence they're going to be coming up against this season so far. So they should be able to create more chances and thus perhaps score more goals here against Sandefjord, who they're on the board now with a 0-0 draw last week against Tromsø. I mean, statistically, they were slightly better last week in terms of shots and stuff. We can't take much from that game, though. It was on a grass pitch, difficult surface. It was always going to end 0-0. They were disappointing in their only away game of the season so far at HamKam, which they lost 2-0. I've got a feeling this might suit Sandefjord a bit more, though. They've been quite high on possession stats so far. They're not a possession-based team. They're better on the counter-attack, and maybe they'll sit back here a bit deeper, and Rosenborg will be forced to try and break them down, and Sandefjord might be able to get them on the break. Who knows? But Rosenborg's big strength, I think, is more their tactical setup defence. So if they win, it's probably going to be to nil. I feel like 1-0 and 2-0 are in play here. So minus 278 is the best price you can get on Rosenborg. I'm not interested in that. The handicap is either minus 1.25 or minus 1.5. That feels too big as well, really. The goal line is at over or under 3 goals, which I think that's a bit too high slightly, to be fair. I think 1-0, 2-0 Rosenborg is the most likely outcome here, which means from a betting perspective, it's just don't get involved because you can't really take the minus handicap on the home team, but equally you couldn't really trust Sandefjord either. So happy not to get involved in this one, but I think Rosenborg will probably find a way to get 3 points.